Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. And we're back. Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. Welcome back to the program, folks. Chris live in central Pennsylvania for your daily dose, your daily injection, your daily democratic bite of the jab, the anti-propaganda, the anti-disinformation, the anti-misinformation. Only the facts, only the truth, only objective analysis. Unbiased? No such thing. Everybody's got bias. But I'm obvious and clear and honest about my bias. Capitalism is the single best economic form of activity. And representative democracy is the best form of government we've found. If you don't like that, you're in the wrong place. But you're welcome to listen in. We like to have people with dissenting voices, even when they're wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. It just means that you haven't had an opportunity to learn the correct things. All right, well, welcome back to the program. So we're going to talk today about Jacob Zuma's big press conference, which got 123,000 views on SABC. Wow, if I'd realized that, I would have sat through the turgid 2 hours and 40 minutes of this boring conference. It was an hour and 40 minutes before Jacob Zuma graced us with his presence to start talking. That was a bit long to watch. So what I'll do is probably go through it after the fact, and I'll break it apart. But Floyd Shivambu was there, the turncoat from the EFF, and he was speaking. But so was Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma delved into racist rhetoric, talking about the history of South Africa, talking about events from 120 years ago, claiming that white South Africans are trying to deny black South Africans the right to vote. And the whole it's just utter nonsense. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the turgid, boring, sleep-inducing cure for narcolepsy. That would be, inducing for narcolepsy. That would be the Democratic National Convention. I'm going to read a quote from that from an analyst, and you say what you've got to say about it. I'd be happy to hear what you've got to say. Also going to talk about a lot of news today, but Jacob Zuma and the DNC are the big topics. I mentioned the national health insurance in South Africa. A Chinese hospital ship rocks up in South Africa. There are people in need of medical care in Sudan. There are people in need of medical care in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, in the northern part of Mozambique, where the ship can actually dock and the people can go right to it. But Chinese send a hospital ship to South Africa. Why does South Africa need a Chinese hospital ship? Don't you have a healthcare system? Isn't that embarrassing for the ANC? We are going to talk about that. Yes, Eric, you missed Plecky, but you can go back and catch it at the beginning. Welcome to the program. Anyway, let's get right into it. And let me read this comment. This is from National Review. Now, to be fair, National Review is a conservative outlet. Be upfront about that. Jeffrey Ballar, I'm not familiar with him, but he writes this. He's talking about the Democratic National Convention. Now, this is hilarious. Listen to the irony of what they do. So here we go. The clash was obvious enough to anyone with enough political history under their belts to remember that professional former Republican strategists, yes, that is an avocation on cable news media, and vehement anti-communist Nicaraguan immigrant Ana Navarro castigated Donald Trump for selling out to dictators and behaving like a Marxist tyrant. She was then followed immediately thereupon by Vermont Senator and vehement pro-communist Bernie Sanders, who honeymooned in Moscow, much as Tim Walz similarly did in Tiananmen Square. Once Sanders got done with his angry socialist power to the people routine through his thick New York City accent, even though he's from Vermont, he sounded like he was commanding Democrats to take on Big Pharma and Big Ag. Then he passed the bill off to none other than billionaire heir to the Pritzker fortune, the improbably doughy governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. Pritzker then proceeded to happily boast about how many billions of dollars he's actually worth to insult Trump. None of these people apparently checked their speeches against one another, which is both hilarious and indicative of the massive rifts being papered over during this convention. What we got instead is pablum. Michelle and Barack Obama both delivered decent to good speeches to end the night. Michelle's was the better of the two by far. Interestingly enough, and Republicans should thank God, she loathes the idea of elective office, but they were purely rhetorical pitches designed to evoke memories of how much the audience and presumably viewers at home love the Obamas compared to this weak crop of choices. Other than promises to keep pushing forward to where, there was no real discussion of what a Harris administration would offer, merely that it would prevent us as a nation from going back. Going back to what? Prosperity, success, achievement, leading the world? Isn't it ironic that Ana Navarro castigates Donald Trump for cozying up to communist dictators, and then she's followed by someone who is pro-communist, who honeymooned in Moscow and loves communism and socialism, Bernie Sanders. And then he rails against with the wealthy, and they follow him up immediately with the speaker, J.B. Pritzker, a multi-billionaire. I mean, seriously, look, I mean, people asked me if I was going to cover the Democratic Convention, and I said I would consider it, especially after Joe left, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It's not even watchable. I tried to watch some of the stuff on YouTube, and it is painful. It's like listening to chalk scratch. Fingers, nails on the chalkboard. It's just horrible. This is... There are almost no decent human beings left in the Democratic Party. Honestly. I mean, I'm talking about politicians. Maybe people that vote for them, there's decent people. Sure, millions of these people. But there's no decent people in their politics. They're all just wackadoodles, rude, disrespectful, arrogant asshats. I mean, listen, Obama saying unity should be our message. Unity? Unity of what? You mean exclusionary unity. You want unity for the left, and you want to poach some of the independents so you can steal office. You don't care about unity of the nation. Otherwise, you wouldn't insult Pennsylvanians by saying, yeah, they cling to their God and guns. And, we would never heard Hillary Clinton come to Pennsylvania and call Pennsylvanians a basket of deplorables. That's the unity there. The vile garbage that these race hustlers, the scumbags, and leftist hate wankers say, and the assaults on me personally. I've never harmed anybody. I've helped millions of people. I've kept 640,000 people from starving to death. And I get attacked all the time by race hustlers and scumbag leftists who have penis envy. And I don't know why. I've never whipped mine out to show them, so I don't know what they're envious of. But grow up. Grow up. If you disagree with someone, fine, disagree with them. I disagree with Jacob Zuma. But it doesn't mean I'm going to run around and write hateful things about him. And it's just ridiculous. People are just, so many people are just crap. Anyway, but whatever. The problem is there's no consequences to people's actions. None. But we may find out very soon what happens in South Africa. But there may if South Africa is a legitimate country, if it is, if the courts are legitimate, if the system actually works the way it's supposed to, if it does, which I'm not confident of that until we see the outcome. But if that happens, very soon we may see some newspapers and some social media commenters suffering the consequences of their actions, which would be nice. People misbehaving should suffer the consequence of their actions. Pretty simple as that. All right, let me see who's in the chat before we go any further. Dylan Kalbrick is here as always. Val Cooper, welcome back. Monterey Siebert's in from Cape Town. Teresa Mark Sayers, Arc Precision. Charmaine, hello Charmaine. Randy Font is here. Ronell, hey Ronell, always great to see Ronell. So glad to see you there. Well, she was here right at the strike of noon or 6 p.m. in South Africa. Richard Kuhn is back once again. I never did hear about his granddaughter's eyes, but I mean, maybe I missed that, but you don't have to answer that, Richard. Pierre Orban, Esther Kotze, Sue Walsh, Garrett Gillich. Du alte Knabber, du. Was tust du denn eigentlich heute Abend in Somerset West? Kein Bier, kein Wein. Was denn eigentlich? Milch? Ich trinke keine Milch schon seit meinem zweiten Lebensjahr. No, that's not true. I love milk. That's a line from Peter Schiesten Vögel ab. Der General. They delivered him a baby bottle at 2 o'clock in the morning. Ich trinke keine Milch schon seit meinem zweiten Lebensjahr. That's funny. Nick Muller's here. Brian Lawrenson. I'm sorry, it is funny. If you watch the movie, Peter Schiesten Vögel ab is Peter Alexander in his finest moment, 1958. Great film. You can find it on YouTube if you speak German. James Brown. I feel good. Yeah, good to see you, James. Charles Van Alsen, the voice of reason. And where is the brains behind the operation? He's out screwing off tonight. Charles, there's me again. And Eric is here. Welcome, Erica. Eric Dom, welcome, Eric. Courtney says, I've been watching the DNC. This may be a high watermark Communist campaign. Time will tell. Well, I'm glad you're watching it, Courtney. You can actually bring yourself to watch it. I've tried. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard. It's horrible. Obama had a really good speech. Reminding me how persuasive he is. No, I didn't think his speech was good. Yeah, it was okay. I wonder if anyone caught the ironies. I doubt they did catch the ironies, Charles. I mean, it's Anna Navarro. Donald Trump is a pro-communist dictator supporter. Our next speaker is Communist Bernie Sanders, who did his honeymoon in Moscow during the Cold War. Look, he didn't go to Moscow in 1995 when it was Russian Federation. He didn't go in 2005. He went there in 1980, 78. He honeymooned in communist Soviet Union. That's all you need to know about him. And he serves in our Senate. It's ridiculous. Yep. Brennan is an American communist, and he was the director of the CIA, and he sold us out. Yeah, and he runs around with former intelligence professionals who say that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. No, these people are a threat to our democracy and our national security because they're just liars. I mean, I don't know what's happened to the former director of the NSA and the CIA, General Hayden. What happened to him? Have you seen his tweets? It's like somebody stole his Twitter account. He's acting like a 21-year-old with purple hair and not a retired four-star general who was the senior most intelligence official in the history of the U.S. military. It's disheartening to say. At least I worked for General Hayden. He didn't behave like that when we were in uniform, but now he behaves. Of course, he's free to behave how he wants, but it's disappointing to see that he's a divide-and-rule leftist who hates patriots because he served in uniform. It's frustrating. Dylan says he can't put himself through it. Neither can I. Listening to Kid Rock and Hulk Hogan was painful for me, rather lowbrow in my opinion. Yeah, you said that, but I thought it was great. Hulk Hogan, no, I didn't really care for that. But Kid Rock, that was fine. Yep, that was fine. Brian Lawrenson, Dylan Combrick, George is here. And whom else we missed? Black Eyes. That's interesting. Black Eyes. Thanks for sharing, Richard. I was wondering if she had green or blue eyes, but okay. But she's a lovely granddaughter, as you said, so congratulations. DNC so hard to watch without cringe. Yeah, exactly, Dave. It's cringeworthy. That's what it is. It's cringeworthy. What happened to ethics and integrity? Charles, I don't know. Here's the other irony. So the Democrats call it racist to require photo ID to vote. They say it's racist to perform the most important single civic duty in our nation. The most important thing you can do as a citizen, a non-felon convicted citizen. The most important thing you can do is vote. And they want it to be just like the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Oh, look what came in the mail. Ooh, ballots. Okay, we got another ballot came in the mail too. Oh, this was someone else. Well, I'll just fill out for them. Yeah, the most important civic duty, and they want to diminish it. But at the Democratic National Convention at the United Center, Chicago, you must present photo identification. You must be registered. You must have photo identification to go in the building. And you must go around a wall that they've erected. They've erected a wall, but walls don't work. Walls don't work. They're racist. They're xenophobic. Well, apparently they work at the United Center in Chicago, where they're keeping out the tens of thousands of radical Islamist fascists who are demonstrating against Killer Kamala, as they call her. Yeah, the yacht sank, but apparently it's intact. Yeah, they've recovered his body. 5 bodies were recovered last night. Does my license count for what? Oh, yes, photo ID, sure. Lies were too many to still count. Yeah, no. They're actually, Washington Post, New York Times actually commented on fact checking and called the DNC and its speakers out on several lies, including Tim Walz and Hakeem Jeffries called out for their lies. But they try to parse it and say, well, they're partly true. Trump this and Trump that. But when the New York Times and the Washington Post are calling out Democrats and leftists for fact-checking, you know that they're telling whoppers. They're telling some amazing whoppers. You know, they're still going back to the Charlottesville garbage. I mean, they're still talking about Donald Trump, this, that, and the other. He has a record. He served as president for 4 years. He wants to be a dictator. Really? He wasn't a dictator. He listened every time the courts tried to counter his executive branch. He behaved. He followed a court order until the court decided what the final was. Okay. Left Behind. It sounds like Dirty Sanchez. Welcome back. Good to see you again. It's a shameful name. Yeah, it is a strange story about that billionaire. Courtney says, I'm still at Puget Sound. I return home on Saturday. We'll resume my job on Monday. I prefer the Navy to the Postal Service. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Botswana diamond, Garrett. It's the second largest diamond ever mined in the history. It's not the second largest diamond ever found. It's the second largest mined diamond. There is a diamond that was found in Brazil on the surface of the ground that was larger, but that was from a meteor. There he is coming in, Tardy, the brains behind the operation. Courtney McBride offering a super chat saying, will Pennsylvania have absentee ballot voting in 2024? Do you mean mail-in ballots? Of course we have absentee. We always have federal absentee balloting. It's required. That's how soldiers and people traveling at the time can vote. We do have federal absentee balloting, of course. Will we have mail-in balloting? Unfortunately, yes. Mail-in ballots go out shortly in Pennsylvania. That's why they had to give the names to the state. And there's the super chat. Thank you for that super chat. Where's Arctic at? Is Arctic here? I didn't notice if Arctic is in because he hates the bell. Trevor Bush is back. Good evening to you. Lefties love to have rules, but not for us, but not for them. Exactly. Saw a pic of massive, looks shattered. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that. Diamond. And who, once again, my penny stock, Lucara. Another massive diamond dug up at the Karaway Diamond Mine in Botswana by none other than Canadian mining firm Lucara, who got the licensing to a disused mine that was stopped. The government of Botswana stopped mining there. They said it was there was nothing to it. You can't find anything. But Lucara knows how to mine, and they've come in and they have pulled a lot of diamonds out of there. No, I won't vote by mail. Why would I vote by mail? That's ridiculous. I'm perfectly capable of carrying my ass to a polling station, and I have to go to the polling station. I'm a judge of elections, so I'll be present there. So why would I mail my ballot in when I'm going to be at the polling station all day from 5 a.m. until 9 o'clock at night, 9:30 at night? So yeah, why would I mail in my ballot? That's just it's a fraudulent method of undermining our elections. It's lazy. It's ridiculous. The argument that people can't make it is bullshit too. The elderly, the infirm, those in care facilities, that's what a federal absentee ballot is for. And why do we do that? Because we attach jeopardy. It goes to the Postal Service, and there's jeopardy attached. Not just, oh, here's a box. Let me stuff my ballot in that box over there. Here you go. Let me stuff it in there. Yeah. Here, let me put my ballot in there. No, bull crap. Not going to happen. Nope. When I'm in charge, those people will not be allowed to vote in that fashion. Yep. There you go. You've heard it here. I protest. Paulie is not the brains behind the operation. No, not the brains of the operation, Ando. The brains behind the operation. Paulie sits in the back and claims credit for success. Yeah, no, you're right. You're involved in the good voting there, Courtney. All right, let's get to some of the news. We got a lot of it. Former EFF strongman. We're going to get to that. But the controversial national health insurance bill, the corrupt Ramaphosa government pushes through with it, despite the fact that members of Government National Unity disagree with it. There are court challenges to it. And the compact, which was signed by acting President Paul Mashatile, there's a scary thought, that it was signed by him, but it's being boycotted by the stakeholders who are necessary in order to make it come to fruition. This is just a joke. South Africa's government is a joke. Controversial health compact signed despite business boycott over the NHI inclusion. Acting President Paul Mashatile signed the Presidential Health Compact, which aims to ensure better health outcomes in South Africa on Thursday. Signed despite opposition from business and others in the healthcare industry who object to NHI playing a central role in the framework. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi said a meeting had been requested with the president to address concerns, but Ramaphosa was both very busy and ill. Ill? What's going on? Has he got Pala illness? What's going on? And he got a cold shoulder from the business community. Yep. After paying lip service to the private sector's role in healthcare provision, as businesses and healthcare professionals have boycotted the signing and don't want to be part of it. Former EFF strongman and deputy president Floyd Shivambu, who famously jumped ship recently, now appeared in a press conference today with Jay-Z and a whole host of MK stalwarts. Yep. Floyd Shivambu was appointed as the national organizer of the MK Party. MK Party Secretary General Sifiso Maseko said Shivambu would be responsible for political education, policy, and research. Education? Policy, research? What does this guy ever researched or written? This is comical. The titles they give themselves, they're just jokes. Go back to wherever you came from. This guy's not qualified for any of that. But that's what he's going to do for the MK Party. Well, there was a row at Marodi, stampede, as the Daily Maverick calls it. Police are investigating a stampede that took place at the Home Affairs offices in Marodi in Pretoria, in which one person died and 20 more were injured. The story of Chidima Vanessa Adechina, the Miss SA contestant, and how she was her nationality, there were cast doubts about her nationality, has put foreign nationals in the spotlight. The reality is that inefficiencies and corruption at the Department of Home Affairs have created a powder keg where foreign nationals living in South Africa are forced to live in a state of desperation and as illegal immigrants because the department is not just working effectively. This was exhibited in a fatal stampede at Home Affairs offices in Pretoria on Tuesday, where foreign nationals were queued to reapply or renew their refugee or asylum papers. The tragic stampede resulted in the death of one individual and 20 others being injured. Wow. For over 3 years, I stood in the same line as the people who were caught in the stampede, and I can tell you that it's a result of the desperation of people fed up with just waiting without knowing what direction they're going, an asylum seeker said. The migrant who shared his story with the publication preferred to stay anonymous, of course, but we referred to as Kendi. Kendi shared the conditions that could have led to the deadly stampede from his personal experience. People queue in those lines from as early as 5 a.m., and then most times they don't get assistance. Usually what would happen when an officer first walks out and people are waiting in line, there's usually no order. So when they see an officer walk out, even if they aren't walking to an official capacity, people just rush to the front so they can be the first person in line. Wow. So this is what happens at Home Affairs. Yep, we know that. It's a broken department, and hopefully it can be fixed by the DA minister that's now in charge of it. Boko Haram. No, we're not talking about Nigeria. The names that these criminal syndicates are now taking on, these gangsters in South Africa, are sad and pathetic. They're calling themselves Boko Haram. It's an extortion gang, and they're fleecing people. Well, the residents of Marodi say, hey, we have the receipts. We have the receipts. A businessman detailed how members of Boko Haram, an infamous criminal syndicate, attempted to legitimize their operations by issuing them with receipts. Now, we told this story about 6 months ago, a similar situation in Cape Town where they got receipts. Police Minister Senzum Chuna said extortion gangs taking over communities in some parts of the country must be dealt with. Well, yeah, they should never have been allowed to form. A Boko Haram extortion syndicate operating in Mamelodi and Shwane has become so brazen it issues receipts to victims for services rendered. The businessman who asked not to be named for fear of reprisal said men approached him last year and demanded he pay $500 at the end of every month to ensure nothing bad happened to his business. Boko Haram is allegedly behind a massive extortion racket where virtually every foreign-owned spaza shop is forced to pay a protection fee of 700 Rand a month. Wow. An informal tire trader told News 24 he hands over 100 a week, and hair salons revealed they're paying 200 a week. This needs to stop. How it never gets to this stage is unbelievable. South Africa's gone. It's absolutely gone. And they're preying on foreign nationals. Well, I've told you that South Africa's new two-tier retirement system is nothing but a scam, a way for the ANC to fleece money now, and people suffer in poverty when they actually retire because they'll foolishly take money out of this because they're allowed to. The ANC gets a cut because they tax you now. You take money out, you waste the money or burn it, and then you have no money in your retirement. They get money now, and then when you retire, they get money again. It's a win-win for the ANC, the corrupt officials there. Well, I'm not the only one. It's a cruel scam by government, says Zwelinzima Vavi on the two-pot retirement system. As millions of South Africans gear up to tap into retirement savings under the new two-pot tier retirement system, which kicks in on September 1st, the South African Federation of Trade Unions says the scheme is a raw deal for workers. Yep. In an interview with Newsroom Africa, General Secretary of SAF2, that's Zwelinzima Vavi, said the scheme is actually a scam. SAF2 maintains a view in the final analysis, in particular, when you look at the rules applying to this two-pot system about how much you can access of your retirement funds, the 10% kept at $30,000. We've taken the view that this is a scam. This is a statement to mislead workers. This is a government typically giving in one hand and taking with the other. Yep, corrupt, thieving bastards. There you go. Thank you for that. They agree with me. Yep, 100%. Well, the weather on the KZN coast is out of control. Winds up to 80 kilometers per hour, ladies and gentlemen. KZN Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Department has alerted residents to a cold front expected over parts of the province, which could result in damaging winds. Kokta said the South African Weather Service issued a warning of wind gusts up to 70 to 80 kilometers an hour between Port Edward and Richards Bay. My goodness. And these strong winds could lead to all kinds of problems. Disruptions of beachfront activities. Duh. Yeah. Collapse of facilities. Well, what's up, Doc? No, we're not talking about the Barbara Streisand. The only thing she ever did was actually appealing the What's Up, Doc movie from the early 1970s with Ryan O'Neal. But What's Up, Doc? We're not talking about Doc as in doctor, but as in dock where ship docks. Why are Chinese hospital ships coming to provide services to South Africans? That's just crazy. In an around-the-world trip to provide medical care to 13 countries, the Chinese hospital ship, the Peace Ark, docked in Cape Town this morning, greeted by military dignitaries and members of the South African Chinese community, waving. South Africa has a Chinese community. That's already disturbing. Waving Chinese flags from the Cape Town cruise terminal at the V&A waterfront, the vessel made its first visit to South Africa shores as a mission harmony. They'll spend a week in Cape Town providing medical services to locals as part of a joint exercise between the People's Republic of China and South Africa. Okay, it's a military exercise. Okay, on that, I'll cut them a break. We do the same thing. We do med caps and vet caps where we send veterinarians and medical personnel around Africa particularly. So, okay, I'll give them that. If it's a medical exercise, then the military hospital ship, if that's what it is getting experience. But, okay, right. Free pass, China. I give you a free pass on this one. Ace Magashuli's former personal assistant, is asking for her fraud charges to be dropped. And here's a little newsflash for this young lady, Marodi Chota. Miss Chota, I think it's highly unlikely the South African authorities will drop the charges against you. They fought for months, nay years, to get you extradited back to South Africa from the United States. I don't think they're going to drop the charges. Just saying. Fraud accused Marodi Chota, the 37-year-old former personal assistant to Ace Magashule, has denied the charge against her. She filed an urgent application in Bloemfontein to declare her charges be dismissed. Wow, well, that's not going to happen. We'll see. If it happens, then somebody's getting paid on the table. There's no way they went to all the trouble to extradite her and then they're going to let her off the hook. Well, I'm still proudly South African, and I'm also proudly Nigerian. Well, I got to tell you now, this lady is putting herself in a spotlight, and this is a mistake. So all the xenophobes that were complaining about her, and I've defended her and called out the people attacking her because I thought it was immoral to attack this woman. Well, she's put herself in the crosshairs, and now she's making a big mistake with this stupid statement. You're either South African or you're Nigerian. You're not both. You can be of Nigerian heritage, you can be of Mozambican heritage, but you cannot be Mozambican, Nigerian, and South African. You are South African or one or the other. This is why dual nationality is such a bullshit concept, and I disagree with it. You can only owe fealty to one nation. That's it, one nation state, not more than one. That has not been proven to Vet Martins that the Lusitania was filled with ammunition, has it? We've seen lots of stories on it. Yeah, it did have ammunition. You're correct. As I'm still fighting for my identity, I'm still proudly South African and I'm still proudly Nigerian, and it's really okay to be diverse, says Miss Chidima. Well, no, it's not. Now you're causing unnecessary nonsense. She received a heartwarming welcome upon her arrival in Nigeria. The reception included flowers and balloons with messages, "You are greatly loved and welcome to the giant of Africa." She wore a La Jacquata suit from the Pastel Power collection, similar to those worn by the top 5 contestants for Miss South Africa earlier this month. In an interview with Rhythm 93.7 FM Nigeria, she said she was excited to be in the country. I remember earlier this year, I said to myself, I need to go to Nigeria. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I need to go. So that I spoke it into existence, and it happening is a great start. I'm excited. It feels nice to be appreciated. The love, the warmth, the support, everything's incredible. Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes there, sweetheart. You are making a mistake. No, not a mistake competing there, but a mistake claiming you're Nigerian and claiming you're South African. Pick one or the other. Don't get both. Don't get both. Why? By the way, Divette, where did the Lusitania come from? How did that get in the conversation? Sandell completes a huge road project on the N2 from Green River to Kons. 500 million road rand for this project. South African National Roads Agency Limited has announced the completion of a significant infrastructure upgrade on the N2 route between Kons and the Green River in Eastern Cape. Project involved 500 million rand. It's a major milestone in the road development and safety enhancements. That it is. Congratulations on that. Wonder how much was put in somebody's pockets. Can you believe that some people in South Africa are actually talking about Ramaphoria 2.0? Ramaphoria was a fraud to begin with. There was no Ramaphoria. It was just wishful thinking by political leftists and DA. They all, woo, Ramaphoria. It's better than the alternative of Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. There was no Ramaphoria. It was a joke. It was a bad joke. It was a sick joke perpetuated on South Africans. Well, there's actually analysts now talking about Ramaphoria 2.0 as confidence in the government of national unity increases. Well, I wouldn't call that Ramaphoria. I'd call that a break, that you've got DA ministers and a few others in the government who are calming the theft down and getting control of things. The increased optimism associated with the government of national unity could mean South Africa has entered a new Ramaphoria moment. No, it can't. Sorry, Luke Fraser. No, we never had Ramaphoria. Stop with that leftist garbage. Well, I know what kind of journalist he is if that's what he's claiming. This is a horrible story. This 57-year-old woman was kidnapped and then found buried. 2 suspects have been arrested. Charlene Joseph was kidnapped from her home at gunpoint. Community of Lavender Hill in the Cape Flats is reeling in shock after the body of a woman who was kidnapped last month was found buried. Charlene Joseph, 57, was having a normal evening on July 10th when masked gunmen entered her St. Montag, a village home, during a power outage with flashlights and kidnapped her at gunpoint. She was dragged into a silver car and had simply was never seen again. Residents were left baffled by this movie-like scenario that took place in the motive for the kidnapping. A meticulous investigation of the kidnapping led to multidisciplinary team. Who cares? Anyway, their persistence paid off when they followed up on clues and information which led to the arrest of a 23-year-old man on Friday in connection with kidnapping. A 49-year-old suspect was apprehended on Monday. The arrest of the suspect ultimately led to the discovery of the body of the kidnapped woman who was recovered from a sand grave in a deserted area behind the municipal landfill site in Munzenberg on the same day. The body had multiple stab wounds. Good God. Why in the world was this 57-year-old colored woman attacked and murdered in the Cape Flats? Kidnapped. For what? We don't know. Hopefully we'll find out from the court case. Well, chaos in the All Blacks camp as a assistant coach quits the team days before they play the Springboks. Scott Robertson fallout leads to shock departure of key All Blacks coach ahead of the Crunch Springbok test. New Zealand received a significant setback after it was announced that Leon MacDonald had departed the setup ahead of the key Springboks test. Former Blues head honcho joined the All Blacks coaching group after Scott Robertson became boss of the national team. MacDonald was handpicked by Robertson to be his TAC coach when he succeeded Ian Foster following the World Cup. It became quite clear that it was not working, however, and the 46-year-old is now quit before the games against the Springboks. Scott Hansen and Tamati Ellison will take on the extra responsibilities. Leon and I have been having some honest conversations with each other for a little while now. As coaches, we have differing views and both agreed it was not working, Robertson said in a statement. Wow. Wow. Big shakeup in the All Blacks coaching staff. Probably will have no impact on the pitch. Botswana and the Canadian mining company Lucara unveil a 2,492-carat diamond. Woo! From the Karaway mine. Unbelievable. A mine that the government of Botswana gave up on years ago. Botswana says one of the largest diamonds ever found has been unearthed at one of its mines and is put on show today. Wow. It's the second largest ever mined diamond. Canadian mining company Lucara Diamond Corp said in a statement Wednesday it had recovered exceptional rough diamond from its Karaway mine in Botswana. Lucara said it was a high-quality stone and was found intact using X-ray technology. We're ecstatic about the recovery of this extraordinary 2,492-carat diamond, Lucara President CEO William Lamb said. The weight makes it the largest diamond found in more than 100 years and the second largest ever dug out of the mine after the Cullinan diamond discovered in South Africa just northeast of Pretoria in 1905. The Cullinan was 3,106 carats and was cut into gems, some of which are part of the British crown jewels. There was a larger black diamond discovered in Brazil in the late 1800s, but that was found on ground, above ground and was believed to have been part of a meteorite. Wow. Before this discovery, the Sewello diamond, which was found at the Karaway mine in 2019, was recognized as the second biggest mined diamond in the world at 1,758 carats, also mined by Lucara. Wow. The 1,111-carat Lasidi La Rona, also from Karaway mine, was bought by a British jeweler in 2017 for $53 million. That diamond was also from Lucara. Scientists say natural diamonds are at least 1 billion years old, and some of them are older than 3 billion years old. Congratulations to Botswana. It's amazing. Well, bad news if you're getting into Botswana, you're going to get tested for monkeypox. Where'd that come from? Where did that come from? Monkeypox. Botswana begins monkeypox screening at entry points. Health officials in Botswana have started screening travelers for monkeypox at the country entry points. Neighboring South Africa has recorded 3 deaths. Although we've not recorded any case in Botswana, I want to take this opportunity to assure Botswana that we have significantly enhanced our broader surveillance systems, said the country's Minister of Health, Dr. Edwin Dikloti. We are currently intensifying our surveillance at key entry points, which is borders and airports, focusing on high-risk areas. Well, monkeypox. Tunisia continues to jail opposition leaders and is reducing the number of opponents for fascist dictator Kais Saied, who is an illegitimate president of Tunisia. There will only be 3 candidates, including Kais Saied, for October's presidential elections. More than 14 candidates were disqualified, and as many as 8 have been arrested for electoral offenses. There will be 3 presidential candidates in Tunisia's general elections on October 6th, down from the 26 that were on the ballot in 2019, in what human rights activists say is President Kais Saied's onslaught on democracy. Well, he doesn't respect democracy. He's a fascist. He should be removed from office. The 66-year-old Kais Saied disbanded the government and parliament back in 2021 and drafted a new constitution which gave him complete power. He is a fraud and must be removed. He's a fascist, totalitarian dictator. And, but what's the Obama government, the Biden government, it's the 3rd term of Obama, what are they saying about it? Nothing. Well, flights, very confusing. Apparently, flights have been suspended. They've been resumed. I don't know what's really going on. But volcanic activity off the coast of New Zealand is causing havoc with aviation. Flights resume after volcanic clouds billow from White Island. Flights in and out of Tauranga have resumed after volcanic ash from White Island caused problems. At least 10 flights were canceled and 3 delayed from both Tauranga and Rotorua airports on Thursday morning after the eruption. And there's some incredible drone footage of this. That's from last week, that picture there. And here's the range. That's where the island is, and that's where the ash and things are going, into the Bay of Plenty and getting as far as Rotorua, which is an incredible place. If you've never been to Rotorua, folks, you ought to check it out. And you can see Hamilton on the map there, Waikato province. Been to both those places. Pretty amazing, Rotorua. You should check it out. Hot springs there. Well, the other story from Japan Times, or Japan Today, says that the volcanic eruptions have grounded flights. And you can see the island right there. It used to be a big tourist destination until 22 people were killed there when it erupted in 2019. Once popular tourist lies 50 kilometers off New Zealand's North Island and 200 kilometers from Auckland. National carrier Air New Zealand said 10 flights have been canceled Thursday as volcanic ash drifted across flight paths. This activity could continue for some time, weeks to months, they warned. Well, that's not good. New Zealand raised its volcanic alert level early this month to 3 out of a maximum of 5 levels. Well, that's also not good. Things are looking bad on the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire. Go down, down, down. The Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire. Well, the bodies of Mike Lynch and others have been recovered from his expensive yacht. Bodies of Mike Lynch and 4 yacht guests pulled from the Bay of Senrec. Christopher Movilla, Jonathan Bloomer, and their wives died after the vessel sank. The bodies of UK tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch and his 4 guests on the super yacht have been recovered 3 days after it sank off the coast of Sicily. Lynch's 18-year-old daughter, Hannah, is still missing. 5 bodies were pulled from the sunken yacht. The body of Ricardo Thomas, the boat's chef, had been retrieved earlier in the week. What a shame. A team of divers has struggled for days to access the interior cabins of the 540-ton yacht due to the volume of debris inside a wreck that lies 50 meters below the surface. That's sad. Concerned SA at Hook reports, in short, the international capitalist philosophy makes nations work for international capitalism, the philosophy of the national capital. What is that concern? What are you talking about? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about? Please share. I have no idea what that reference is. Well, the European Union is continuing with its ridiculous begging scheme, forcing travelers to beg for permission to enter the European Union. They can go shove it. European Union to switch from stamping passports to electronic entry and exit in November. Yep. Every single border crossing at every single airport, every single harbor, every single road in Europe will have digital border controls, all connected, all switched on at the very same time, said European Commissioner of Home Affairs Ylva Johansson. And of course, all criminal alien invaders will easily continue to invade, walk around Europe with impunity, nothing happening to them. But those from respectable countries who seek to travel there for family, business, education, or tourism will now be hit with a fee. And it's time to strike back against the European Union. Let's start imposing visa requirements on them. Yep. Ms. Johansson made this speech to members of the European Union Agency for Operational Management of Large-Scale IT Systems. Well, that's a mouthful. EU-LISA. The entry-exit system will make it harder for criminals, terrorists, and Russian spies to use fake passports thanks to biometric identification and photos and fingerprints. That's bullshit. All it's going to do is steal money out of my pocket and other people who are foolish enough to travel to the European Union. Visitors from a selection of countries outside the EU will need to apply for a waiver to enter the Schengen, according to the BBC. EU countries outside Schengen area will continue to be allowed visa-free. So no visa, but you have to apply for a waiver. So why do we have to have a waiver if we don't need a visa? Recipients of waivers will be allowed to enter and travel freely for 90 days within a 180 period. Each waiver is valid for 3 years. Well, we already can do that. So why do we need a waiver? Eligible nations include the U.S., Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, and most of the nations of Central and South America. So what I have to say, screw you. Screw you, European Union. I have to apply for a waiver to enter a waiver? Fuck you. You people are not speaking Russian because of me and millions of my compatriots and trillions of dollars of our national wealth. Screw you. Put the same requirement on them here. Quid pro quo. You did it to us, we're going to do this for that. You get the same thing here. Jackasses. I don't want to mark up that map. It would take too many pin cushions. But yeah, I can make a map of places I've been. I used to do that, but it became just quite a burden. I used to have one just for Germany. I had like hundreds of pins, all the towns. Well, a judge has dismissed a frivolous lawsuit against Elon Musk. Accusations that Elon Musk policies significantly discriminate against disabled workers are not justified, said the judge, in a victory for Elon Musk. U.S. District Judge Arcela Martinez Ologin dismissed a lawsuit against social media platform X brought by people with disabilities who were fired. Dmitry Borodanko, an engineering major who was with X until 2022, said the firings violated Americans with Disabilities Act by treating disabled workers differently from others. Borodanko did not provide evidence to support his bogus claim. He fails to show how employees with disabilities were treated differently by Twitter's broad return to the office policy and increased workload. Borodanko's theory improperly relies on the assumption that all employees with disabilities necessarily required remote work as a reasonable accommodation. Yep. Congratulations to X and the scumbag disabled person who's misusing their disability to try to get over. That's how you get people to dislike you. There was no unreasonable expectation for you to go to work. Well, Elon Musk was forced to reveal who owns X. Now, remember, when Elon Musk bought X, I told you he didn't put all his money in there. He's one of many shareholders. He's just the face of X. I told you that when he bought the damn platform. Remember that? Remember that, folks? All these people, Elon Musk, going to spend $44 billion for this platform. He's got a host of investors. Yep. Bill Ackman and Sean P. Diddy Combs are among the list of owners of Elon Musk's X. Yep. They were forced to disclose investors as part of a lawsuit brought by former employees who were seeking payment arbitration for his purchase of the site. Yep. Previously, X said its investors were confidential as a matter of routine practice and policy, but a federal judge in California ruled to unseal the list of owners. And this was an intentional effort by a federal court in California to intimidate X and to frighten shareholders. It's none of the public's business who owns a privately owned company. No, the state has no right to release that, but that's exactly what they've done. That's exactly what they've done. This is a targeted political attack on the shareholders, the owners of X, by a federal judge. This is a violation of his oath to the nation. These people need to be unmasked, these corrupt judges. Yep. Anyway, but here it is. Here it is. Saudi prince with a net worth of $19 billion has holdings in it as well. That's Ali Alawid bin Talib bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud. Yep. All right. So here's the full list. And Andrea Strupa, whoever that is, Danilo Kawasaki, Dayton Family Enterprises, Elon Musk is a trustee of the Irrevocable Trust, Fidelity Canadian Growth, Fidelity Contra Fund, Fidelity Mount Vernon Street, GigaFund, Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey Remainder LLC is a shareholder, as is Jack Dorsey Trust. So he left the company, but he still owns part of Twitter. Look at that. Sequoia, that's not a surprise. Sequoia is a huge venture capital fund. Sequoia's down here. Sean Combs Capital, that's P. Diddy right there. There you go. Yep, there you go. So that's the owners of Twitter, not just Elon Musk. I told you that. Scientists have uncovered more evidence of what is killing Alaska king crab. And it is, much to my chagrin and dismay, climate change. It's climate change. Apparently, the weather was too warm, and that increased their metabolism, which made them hungry. So they tried to get food, and there were too many crabs, and so they starved to death. And on top of that, fish entered the stream that don't normally enter it because it's too cold, and they ate all their food as well, ate all the crabs. Yep. Fishermen and scientists were alarmed when billions of crab disappeared from the Bering Sea near Alaska in 2022. It wasn't overfishing. It was likely the shockingly warm water that sent the crabs' metabolism into overdrive and starved them to death. But their horrific demise appears to be just one impact of the massive transition unfolding in the region. Yep, here are molts and shells from crabs. So those aren't dead crabs. Those are molts mostly because they shed their shells. Anyway, decline in the Alaska snow crab signals a wider ecosystem change in the Arctic. The ocean's warm and sea ice disappears. The ocean around Alaska is becoming inhospitable for several marine species, including red king crab and sea lions. The Arctic region is warm 4 times faster than the rest of the planet. It's a bellwether of what's to come. Scary thought. Scary thought. Canada has a freight rail strike. That will be a big impact on the economy as the freight rail traffic comes to a standstill. Standoff could cause economic damage and supply chain problems for businesses and consumers in Canada and the USA. Canada's 2 major freight railroads have completely halted operations due to a contract dispute with their workers in a standoff that could cause considerable economic damage to businesses and consumers in Canada and the United States. Canadian National and PKC railroads have both locked out their employees after the Thursday deadline passed without new agreements, and the Teamsters Canada Rail Conference, which represents 10,000 engineers, conductors, and dispatchers. It's the first time the country has faced simultaneous work stoppages by these two groups. Wow, that's bad news. Oprah, football, and freedom. Highlights or lowlights from the Demon Rat Convention in Chicago. Yeah, look at this. There you go. There's Oprah. Tim Walz sought to rid the Democrats of their elite image, but another star was Oprah, who mesmerized the crowd with an appeal for common sense and decency. Yeah. The night proved that celebrity still matters in politics and beyond. There you go. All people who hate America. So Democrats are no longer deplorables. They're your neighbors. Throughout the night, Democrats channeled their inner Ned Flanders, the Simpsons character known for his mostly neighborly neighborhood in Springfield. Speaker after speaker stressed that even as they thrashed Donald Trump inside the convention hall, they did not view his followers as their enemies. That family down the road, they may not think like you. They may not pray like you do. Well, these people don't pray. And they pray to climate change. They may not love like you do. We don't like people. So what does that mean? We don't love like you. What do you do? Something with animals? But they are your neighbors, Mr. Waltz said. You look out for them, and they look out for you. And you know what I have to say to Mr. Waltz? Get stuffed. Footset. Piss off. You've been calling us names for decades. Patriotic Americans who serve this nation, defend the Constitution. You've attacked us. You've silenced us on social media through your collusion with corrupt social media companies given privileges by Congress who are exempt from prosecution for their actions. And they shut people down and silences. The Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, the White House, the CDC, the NIH colluded with social media to silence Americans because they didn't like what we had to say. But we have a God-given natural right to say what we want to say. So Tim Walz and all the little Democrats at the convention last night are pretending mess unity. Get stuffed. There is no coming back. Your insults will not be forgiven. You will not be forgiven. You will be driven from office at the ballot box, and those of you who committed crimes will be prosecuted. Joe Biden. Well, the Democrats signal that voting rights bills will be at the top of the agenda. So they're talking about unity, and what's the first thing they're doing? Trying to undermine legitimacy of our elections. Senate Majority Leader Chucky Schumer says the party will be willing to set aside the filibuster to pass legislation that would reshape American election law and steal more elections. Look at that creepy chick on the right and that face on her. Democratic leaders say bypassing sweeping legislation to expand voting rights, not expanding voting rights, they're giving away voting rights, and curb gerrymandering will be at the top or near their agenda. To enact measures, they say they're willing to bypass the filibuster. Wow. This is vital to democracy, to steal it, said Senate Leader Chucky Schumer in an interview on Wednesday. Earlier, he said that if the party keeps the Senate, they will have the votes necessary to change the rules and make voting rights legislation a top priority. One of the first things I want to do, should we have the presidency and keep majority, is change the rules and enact both the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Act, both of which are shameful, disgusting pieces of legislation that undermine the integrity of our elections and should never be in consideration. But that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Robert Kennedy Jr., a bombshell. Let's see if it's true. Tomorrow he's scheduled to speak. And purportedly, Robert Kennedy Jr. will suspend his presidential campaign or end it and endorse Donald John Trump. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Well, that's what the rumor is on the street. Independent candidate scheduled to give a speech about path forward in Phoenix tomorrow. Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr., Bobby Kennedy Jr., planning to drop his bid to become next president and endorse Donald Trump. Wow. He's the third child of Robert Kennedy, who was assassinated back in the 1960s. Reports in the New York Times, CNN, ABC, and NBC come after Kennedy's campaign announced earlier Wednesday that he would give a speech in Phoenix about the present historical moment and his path forward. Wow. He ran for the Democratic Party nomination before going independent because the Democrats colluded to keep him off the ballot and out of the media because they are election thieves. That's what they are. They're anti-democratic fascists. That's their true colors. They just defrauded 14.5 million Democratic voters of their choice for president. That's who the Democrats are. Yep. So they defrauded him as well. The attempted assassin, the gunman who sought to murder President Trump, had encrypted accounts in multiple countries, according to a member of Congress. Thomas Crooks had multiple accounts in Belgium and several other countries as members of the task force for investigating the attempted assassination have learned. Does the guy have herpes? Look at that lip. The man who fired shots at former President Donald Trump during a rally in Pennsylvania had encrypted accounts in multiple countries. We haven't learned much about these overseas accounts. We do know they're in Belgium, New Zealand, and Germany. Why does a 19-year-old kid who's in healthcare aid need encrypted platforms not even based in the United States but based abroad? Well, it's a fair question, but it's maybe because that's where the services are rendered. 818,000 jobs that the U.S. government lied existed. They do not exist. The Bureau of Labor Statistics lied to us. Another scandal by the corrupt Biden-Harris regime. Economists aren't too worried about it, but it is a problem for Kamala Harris. Yep. The federal government routinely revises economic data, but it rarely makes a correction as large as it did on Wednesday when the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported the American economy created 818,000 fewer jobs than the communist regime claimed. The new data comes at a politically consequential moment as Vice President Kamala Harris tries to hide from the press. The White House and Harris, along with them, have struggled to figure out how to convince Americans that despite a widespread and consistent public unease about the U.S. economy, exceptionally high interest rates, and the piss-poor job market, that we're doing well under their crooked, corrupt regime. We're not. Speaking of a crooked, corrupt regime, let's take a look at what's happened to car buying in America. Well, the auto industry covers prices are out of reach for most people. The price of new cars in America rose by more than 40% since Donald Trump left office in January 2021. Used car prices in that time period have risen by 52%. Most Americans afford a new car is far more difficult than it was before COVID-19. It's not getting any easier. A new or used car is often too expensive for Americans who are already battling inflation that's making financial decisions more difficult than they were a few years ago. Yep. In 2019, a consumer with a budget of $20,000 could afford about half of the used cars on a lot in America. In 2023, only 13% of used cars were within $20,000. 13%. In June, according to Cars Commerce, the average list price of a new car was $49,500. $49,500 for a new car. The most popular new car, which isn't a car, is a truck, is the Ford F-150 pickup truck, which costs $58,000. Interest rates are too high. People are paying between $700 and $1,000 a month in car payments for a car. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Wow. Ford has sold 40 million F-Series trucks. Wow, that's crazy. In January of 2022, they rolled through 40 millionth one. Wow. Median household income rose over a longer period, but the cost of living has tripled during the same period. Wow. Used car prices are off the charts. The average cost of a used car is $30,000. $30,000? You seriously? I paid $38,000 for my fully loaded. No, I paid $28,000. Excuse me, for my fully loaded sedan. That was a $38,000 sticker price. I paid $28,000 for it 9 years ago, and I paid $38,000. It was $20,000. I paid $38,000 for my SUV in 2004. That today would be $70,000. That's insane. I can't afford that. Most buyers are taking out loans lasting longer than 5 years. Additionally, 17.8% of consumers are now making vehicle payments over $1,000 a month. $20,000 a month rand for a car payment. Most, about 18% of Americans. The United States military is unprepared for nuclear escalation in a war with China, according to the Department of Defense. Wow. U.S. military forces are not ready to respond to tactical nuclear weapon strikes by China in a protracted war. Broadly speaking, the emerging nuclear dynamics between the United States and China appear to have different dynamics than those between the United States and the Soviet Union and carry a greater risk of limited nuclear use. Reads a study, which was funded by the Pentagon's Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA, the organization I used to work with. Eli Lilly says its weight loss drug reduces diabetes by 94%. This is insane. Tirzepatide, the active ingredient in Mounjaro and Zepbound, delayed patients' progression to type 2 diabetes. Prescription drug injected weekly to help reduce weight in overweight and obese people has shown to significantly reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. Tirzepatide, an active ingredient, was shown to reduce the progression of type 2 diabetes by 94%. Wow, that's crazy. 94%, that's amazing. Wow, that's only for obese people, apparently. Caitlin Clark effect, yeah, it hits bottom line in Indiana, where the Fever have had an unbelievable record turnout of supporters. Fever jersey sales are up more than 1,000% year over year as the team battles for a playoff spot. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever returned to WNBA's Olympic break this week. The franchise, that's old news. They're already back. She played on Sunday. League high 186,000 fans have attended Fever games this season. up 265% from last year. Wow, the team won 3 of its last 5 contests to claim the 7th place, and it just won its most recent one. Wow. Between April 15th and July 19th, it beat all other teams across the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, and Major League Baseball in team-produced video consumption with 800 million views. Wow. Wow. Caitlin Clark is driving the growth of the WNBA, and they still hate her. Did you see the where she was bumped by this chica? This is unbelievable. Where's that video at? Skylar Diggins. Hang on. Is she a punk or what? Is this girl a racist or just a punk? Hang on. Hang on. Watch this. So Caitlin Clark, after a game, this is on Sunday, the game I watched on ABC, they beat the Storm, and they beat them convincingly, which is amazing. So they played really well. She played well. Aaliyah Boston played well. Mitchell played well. Lexi Hull all played incredible. It was a great game. It was fantastic to watch. Exciting. It was like watching the Bulls back in the day. But this is what happened after the game. Watch this girl come over and hit her, bump her. She's either a punk or a racist. And this is what's been going on in the WNBA to Caitlin Clark on a regular basis. Watch it. Here she comes. Watch. You be the judge. You be the judge. Racist or just a punk? My first line is she's probably just a punk. But, I mean, if Caitlin Clark had done that, we'd be hearing cries of how she's a racist for assaulting a black player on the court. But we won't hear that when Caitlin Clark is attacked. All right, let me get back to the chat and say hello to folks here that I've missed. All right. There was the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. What's going on, Paul, here? Trump is using Tulsi Gabbard for debate prep. Really? Didn't know that. Erica, it's always the first Tuesday of November. I think it's the 5th this year. Rompy has an eye problem, says Robert Rankin. Okay. We don't have biscuits, only edibles will warm you up. Okay. Why are they there in the first place? It's pronounced Marabashtad. Thank you, Teresa. Marabashtad. I've never been there. If I have it, I didn't know it. If Trump doesn't win November, World War III will follow, says Smee. Got it. Okay. Home affairs disaster. You're correct. I know that firsthand. I know firsthand what a disaster it is. Country is becoming a Ponzi system. Top brass wins in the end. Correct. Okay. What else we got here? Hey, Jeanette, how's it going? Winds picked up yesterday. Devet was talking about the Lusitania. I'm not really sure why. But yes, you're correct. It did have ammunition on it. Biggest dilemma in life is who ID'd more spineless. Starmer's pretty spineless, yep. She's probably going to fall down the stairs. Ace has lots of loose. You mean his PA? Yeah. She'll be told to stay there. Made a choice. Under 20s play UK later tonight. Okay, I didn't know that. Hey, Marilyn, how you doing? Sandell made a roundabout for $500 million. No, they did more than that. That's just a photograph. The chat room is a bit normal tonight compared to last night. Yeah, last night was a little hectic. What, Eric Dome? Yep. South African leaders didn't come into the picture since they're spineless. This doesn't have any effect on the globe. Malcolm says, oh, he's talking something there. Okay. Christo De Beer says, just look at this strike by civil servants. The main roads in and out of Joburg blocked this afternoon in that area. Oh, that wasn't even the news. It wasn't even the news, Christo. Thanks for sharing that there was a strike in Joburg. Didn't even know that. Didn't see it in any of the news services. Fleshin is here. Okay, Malcolm Clotty. Weird that they buried her. It is a little weird. I wonder if she was even dead when she was buried. Yep. The sinking Lusitania was the reason the Yanks used to enter the Greek War. It's what drove us into the war. That's correct. That's correct. But we didn't force the Germans to sink the Lusitania. They chose to do it. That's correct. It was the Cassius Belli that got the United States into the First World War, and it's why the Germans lost, because we entered the war. 318,000 American troops on the front lines that the Germans ran into when they restarted their offensive in 1918, and it ground to a halt after some early gains because the Yanks, not because the French, not because the Brits, not because of anyone else, but because the Americans. The rest of them were exhausted after 4 years of war. We entered fresh, and eventually over 1 million Americans arrived in there to fight the war. But the first 300,000 stopped and blunted the German advance, and Germany fell apart. It was destroyed as a consequence of that. Never got to go back and chat and see the, what's this? Shenanigans going on in chat as it got busy. Oh, okay. It was one of the reasons Zimmerman Telegram was a big factor. Yes, that's correct. The Zimmerman Telegram from Mexico was another big fact. And correct, the Lusitania was sunk. Thank you very much, Nexus of Thought, for putting it in perspective. The Lusitania was sunk in 1915. We didn't enter the war until 1917. You are correct. You are correct. But the Lusitania did have ammunition in it. Yeah, it was denied for a long time, but it is true it was, taking ammunition to the UK. Yeah, no, Nexus, I know it wasn't 1015. We didn't have steamships in 1015. The Vikings were busy with their longboats then. Okay. Many in Natal and down the Wild Coast, old Spanish and Portuguese wrecks still there. Yeah, a lot of Portuguese wrecks off the coast of South Africa. Many of us had smallpox immunization. Apparently it gives protection. I've had them. I have multiple smallpox immunizations. It does give protection. Against what? Monkeypox? That's good news. That's some good news. Marilyn says Erica's spot on about something. Okay. Concerned Citizen says, do you know about someone posted the Hoke report about Anglo-American online last year? Fufu was assassinated because of it. Thank you, Smee, again. Pray that Mullah doesn't get the majority vote. That will mark the beginning of the end. Oh, Kamala. Okay, yeah, 140 rand. Thank you for that, Smee. I agree. Okay, so Verwoerd was assassinated in 1960. They already warned about lame corporations. Thank you for sharing that concern. I say that's out of the blue. Doesn't Rotorua smell like fart? No, maybe there's a little place to smell with the sulfur, but it's pretty nice. Rotorua is interesting. I stayed overnight there in a Novotel or a Mercure property, something like that, and went to the. I've got still pictures of that somewhere. Let me see when I was there. Pretty cool. In fact, let me look at that real quick. Give me a second here. It just won't take too long. But yeah, it was incredible. That was one of the nice things. And then when I stayed at the hotel, and outside the hotel, these kids were playing rugby, which is funny. It was during the Rugby World Cup. But it was after I went to the game in Hamilton where I saw Wales and Samoa. Let me see if I can find this real quick. New Zealand. Yeah, Rotorua. Nope. So I can find New Zealand. No results. Okay, that's crap. I'm in the wrong count. Okay, hang on. That's why. I'm in the wrong count. Too many Google accounts. There we go. Rotorua Mudflats. Let me find it real quick. There we go. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah, we'll put that on screen and share that with you guys real quick. Give me a second over here. Give me a second. Let me see. Yep. Okay, cool. Okay, we'll go through these pictures. I'll show you Rotorua here in just a second, okay? All right, so let's get to... There we get that back there. Okay, and let me get back to the channel and see where it's at. Okay, cool beans. All right, well, people left. We were at 100. What happened there? Johnny Cash, what? Oh, yeah, it was me singing earlier. Don't you think it's an absolute embarrassment? USA is, yeah, well, I thought Joe Biden was an embarrassment, so, yeah. Chris, mark all the places you've been on the map. Yeah, you said that before. Did I read this twice? Jackass penguins, yep. Maps change, have always changed, and will always change. That's true. And Fletcher said, yes, you did, sir. They do know that the crabs migrate. Yeah, it's true. And they go to colder water. So the whole thing is just weird. Oprah is a dodgy old bag. Sorry, dude. I agree. Yeah, monkeypox is the next big scam, but it's not working. Yep. And thank you for the super chat, Smee. I appreciate that. It's your first one on a live? Is that really your first ever super chat? That doesn't seem right. Fleshton's headed home. Where's home? What do you mean? You going back to Wales? What's going on? 91 likes? Okay. All right, let's get to the show. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you some slides from Rotorua. This is in 2011 during the Rugby World Cup. These are pictures I took, not with a mobile, but with an actual camera, using digital cameras back then. Look at all that steam coming out. There's a mud pot there. Nasty. There you go. Boop, 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 boop. Special effects provided by Chris. Boop, boop, boop. Look how close people's houses are. You see that right there above it? There's houses that close. These people are crazy. I wouldn't live next close to these things like that. There you go. That looks like freaking Yellowstone there. Look, there's sulfur coming out. That one smelled. Yep. Yuck. Covered in that mist. Right on top of it. It's like, ugh, crazy stuff. The Maoris aren't going to clean up anything. Look at that. There's houses right over there. That's a big hole in the ground there. Town is right there. Look at that. I mean, look how close they live to this stuff. These people are wackadoodles, man. Oh, there were Chinese tourists there in 2011. Look at that. There you go. That's one of my favorite photos. Still got that Springboks coat. And the jersey. I wore the jersey on the show the other day. That's a little better. The light's better. That's a good one there. Hey, you guys like that one? This is Rora Hot Springs in New Zealand 2011 Rugby World Cup time frame there, Debbie. You like that one? Yeah, who's that young Springbok dude? Look at that. That is 2011 in New Zealand. Yeah, that's a good shot. Cool beans. Those trees are stripped bare of any vegetation by the stuff that floats over it. Ugh, nasty looking stuff. There you go. Teo kohitu tu. Namai. Hiromai. Welcome. Yep. The Thermal Village. Waka rewa rewa. Look at that name below that, man. Try to say that. Te waka rewa ware wata tongo goa teo petawa oawahia. Whoa. Try that again. Try that again. What, $5 interest fee? I don't remember. Let me see. Where are you seeing the $5 interest fee? I don't see that here. I don't know. It wasn't that expensive, but yeah. Try saying that name, man. That is a long name. They live right on top of it, man. It's where they put their houses. Crazy. That was a guide. I didn't have a guided tour, but I wound up rocking up in a guide. Here I am sitting down. You have to wear a sticker to get in there. It sounded like sign language there. Yeah, exactly. Boy, that would be painful sign language, wouldn't it? Selfies. There's a geezer coming up. Sound effects provided by Chris. In the beginning. Hell's Gate. That's a cool shot. Ooh, that's a mud pot there. The Steaming Cliffs. And that's the last one. Hell's Gate. That's a different spot. Hell's Gate. Nobody was there. I was like the only person in Hell's Gate. The 3 or 4 other people I saw there. Anyway, that was Rora in New Zealand. What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of that? Well, I got to save that photo. I love that. I haven't seen that one in a while. There we go. It's saved. Cool beans. I'll start using that. Anyway, Rora and Mudflats. That was pretty cool, huh? Nice little tour there. Did you guys enjoy that? Did you enjoy it? No, 12 people, 10 people left, so I guess they didn't enjoy it. What else? You're supposed to chuck 10 pounds of bicarbonate. Yeah. No, I don't think that's a good idea, Slippery Pickle. What's the long cloud? I don't know what that is. Oh, Chantel says, ooh, handsome. Well, I am a handsome devil. Iconis is looking sharp. Like making cottage pie. Oh, yeah, you were making cottage pie. Okay. What else? Have I missed anything else in chat? So, Old Faithful's lesser-known cousin from down south. Exactly. Flesh is talking about Belgium and guns. I have no idea what that conversation is about. No idea what that conversation is about. I missed out on that one, so if anybody can fill me in, that'd be great. Sorry, my chair's being a little rough here. Ooh, excuse me. So tomorrow we've got rugby. The Bulls are playing, I think it's the Griquas at Loftus. Let me double check on that. Tomorrow. Well, that's not where my schedule for Curry Cup is. Where are you hiding at? There it is, Curry Cup. Curry Cup, the Bulls host the Griquas tomorrow at 1:05. So I'll be doing that and then probably the press conference afterwards. Yep. All right, cool beans. Then on Saturday, first game is Province and the Sharks in Cape Town. And then it's the Cheetahs and Lions from Bloemfontein. That's the one that matters the most. On Sunday, it's the Griffins and Pumas, another game that no one's going to want to listen to. Oh, my goodness. Wow, we'll see. Province has 34 clear titles and 4 shared titles in its history. 38 Curry Cup titles. But they haven't been winning much of late. So Humana's interested in me. Why? You're not interested in me. People send me bills for stuff that's not even my responsibility to pay. Why are you interested in me? Anyway, so we got that rugby coming up this weekend. Next weekend, it's the All Blacks. That's going to be huge at the end of August. Coming at the end of August. Yep. Oh, Mike is very late. It's okay, Mike. You'll be forgiven for that. My Our Forgotten History project is still continuing. A couple of topics that on the table I mentioned. One is Hendrik Witbooi and the Nama. What happened to them, 1904 to 1915, actually. 11 years of misery for them. Nearly wiped out the Nama. We'll talk about that on my Forgotten History segment or channel if I create another channel. And then there's also going to be the Rugby Senate's getting there. I mean, let me take a look at that real quick. It's over 5,000, so we were real excited. Last week was a fantastic week. Tom McDonald's got something going on at Rugby Senate. Okay. 5,200 subscribers, so yeah, cool. But now Megaphone shows up with it because he's using that as a title. So let me see. Rugby Senate says 5,200 subscribers. It says I only have 466 videos. Really? Is that all? Seems like a lot more. Yep. 48,000 views on that Australia-South African game. Wow, that kept going. I didn't even know that. 48,000 on that game. Wow. That's pretty cool. Yep. So had 1,900 the Griffins and Griquas. That's pretty darn good for that game. 5,900 for the Cheetahs and Sharks. 4,100 for the Lions and Province. 48,000 for Australia versus South Africa. That has to be the best performing. In fact, well, I can't. I'm not logged in. I can't, so I can't go there right now. And the Pumas and Bulls on the Friday was 3,800. So that's not bad. That's quite a bit there, folks. Yeah, wow. Anyway, it was a good weekend. A really good weekend on Rugby Senate. So thanks to everybody who went there, and thanks to those became subscribers. Really do appreciate it. Hey, James, how's it going? Razor's assistant coach has decided to leave. Who's Razor? We said the assistant coach for the All Blacks is gone. He's got new music coming out. It doesn't Friday. Yellowstone is more active of late. Yeah, Yellowstone is amazing. I've been to Yellowstone a few times. That's in fact, I'd like to go out there now. If I had a reliable new car, which I can't afford, I'd just take a road trip. It's a long road trip, and I'd go for like 3 weeks. Drive out there to Devil's Tower, to Glacier National Park, to Yellowstone. Probably come back through Colorado. Yeah, it'd be great. What's this? The Dutch GP? That just disappeared. Somebody's statement just went away. Oh, Garrett was asking about some photograph. Okay. Have to watch this weekend's rugby belatedly. Family birthdays. Oh, well, happy birthday to whoever's having a birthday. Actually, run Rugby Senate while watching the game live. Thank you, Charles. A lot of people do that. Leon McDonald. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was a typo. Thank you for that, Charles. I thought it was a typo. Yeah, so my mistake. Oh, Icano's message was retracted. Why did you retract your message, Icano? Yep. Tom McDonald loves to irritate the left. He does. Interesting guy. Anyway, so that's one of the topics on Forgotten History, and I've got several others, so I'm working on it. Valence, okay. Members only. All right, well, am I a member over there? Let me see. Don't know if I'm a member. Live streaming, let me see. Come on. I can't remember if I am. Maybe I just did a super chat. Okay, let's see. No, I'm just subscribed. I'm not a member. Okay. I thought it might have been a member there. I can't remember which one's a member though. Just back from Cape Town. Ron, what are you doing in Cape Town? Did you drive? That is an epic drive, man. I hope you didn't drive. That's a really tough one. The Redwoods. James, the Redwoods are interesting. They're not as cool as one would hope because of the heavy foresting that went out there, the timbering. Really destroyed the Redwoods. I mean, they're still around, but they're a shadow of what they once were. Let me try to find a map of the Redwoods. Map of Redwoods in California. Okay, yeah, here we go. A couple of them. Yeah, I need a more accurate one. That one's not accurate, so yeah, let me see. Well, that's useless. That's so tiny I can't even see it. Okay, shoot. Let's try this. It shows the range, but this is not the actual. Let me see. Coastal redwoods inspired human beings, yada yada, mystique, current growth, original growth. Okay, this can't be right. I know it's much smaller than that. Yeah, that's a Redwood National Park. Travel info. That doesn't really help. Is there a map here? Redwoods. Maps. No, I guess I'll have to show you this one, which is not the most accurate. So I've seen better maps. Coastal Redwood Park. Oh, these are parks. Okay. This shows the original growth and the current growth. So Coast Redwood, Sequoia sempervirens. Okay, so here you go. So the original growth is a little hard for you to see. It's the grayish sort of thing, and the green is where it's at now. You can see that the range was much greater, all the way down to San Francisco there and past it. Here you go. And then also the giant sequoias are over there. You can see that range for them. Save the Redwoods League has helped permanently protect more than 150,000 acres in 37 California parks. Okay. So let's check them out. Save the Redwoods. See what they've got to say. Yeah. Humboldt Redwoods. Been to that one. Okay. So it's the redwoods are amazing. Pretty cool stuff. Huge trees. Huge. Some of the largest living things on the planet. Yeah, the redwoods are cool. Giant sequoias are pretty cool too. Been to the giant sequoias. Humboldt, California's Redwood Coast. That's not what I'm looking for. Sequoia National Park. SEAQUO. Sequoia National Park. Sequoia National Forest. Sequoia National Park Redwoods. Okay. Here we go. Trying to find. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Sequoia National Forest. That was pretty cool. That was there. Let me see. Well, that's not helpful. That's not helpful at all. That map is not helpful at all. Just trying to find something here. Okay. Oh, that's not helpful. This is not very helpful sites. It's a Forest Service topographic map. It doesn't really... Oh, okay. We get down here. This level, you actually can click on a map. Let me see. Huh. Weird. Okay. Wow. These are... That's cool. I didn't know you could do that through the Forest Service. I'm going to have to save that website. Check this out. So the Forest Service, you can download PDFs of topographic maps from all over the country. Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. I love topographic maps. Wow. Let me get a topographic map of Pennsylvania, see if they've got it. Okay, zoom out. Let's see, Pennsylvania. Coming in here a little bit here. That's not where I want. I want over here. This is where I want, right there. No, they just have the park areas. They don't have the whole country. Oh, well. That was exciting for a moment. Yeah, there are some old growth trees still, but not a lot. Good evening, Olaf. Hey, how you doing, man? It's been a while. Yeah, topographic maps are great for hiking. Used to use to 1 to 50,000s for orienteering. I prefer 1 to, what's the one that comes below? Is it 1 to 20,000 or something like that? Yep. What time is the 6 o'clock meeting? Huh? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What's 6 o'clock meeting? Yeah, has anybody ever done orienteering? That's a cool sport. Oh, yeah, I love orienteering. I used to be really big in that. It's something the ROTC likes to do. Orienteering is awesome. If you've never done orienteering, you should check it out. Yeah, the redwoods are cool, but anyway. So they have those maps of the National Park Service areas, not of the whole country. It's kind of a drag. I thought we'd get the whole country there. Anyway, at least you can get that, so that's kind of cool. Best maps of Redwood National Park. Let's see what this says. Huh. Where are the maps at? I see no maps. I just see trees. There's no maps here. It's just trees. Oh, here you go. This is what I was looking for earlier. Okay. That's... Okay. All right. This is what I was looking for earlier, but the key is not on there. Oh, come on. This is so stupid. I want the actual map. It doesn't show you the map. Park Service, California, Alcatraz, okay, Yosemite, Pinnacles. Been to Pinnacles National Park, yep. Redwoods National Park, there we go. That's what I want. Okay, download maps of the place. Okay, here we go. National State Parks. That's the one I want. Just download the PDF, man. I want the PDF. Good Lord. PDF version. Here we go. Well, there's a JPEG. I can play with that. There we go. All right. Sorry, I was trying. This takes a lot of work to get this stuff. It should have been a lot easier than this. The Acrobat's much better. Okay, so National Parkland. So here you can see. So this is the Redwood National Park here, folks. All right. So in California. I'm gonna zoom up here. There we go. So there you go. Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park, but the national park is the dark green. You can see how it's disjointed. The coastal redwoods are there, Crescent Beach, and then here's the national park down here. National Parkland is a dark green. State Parkland is the lighter green. So not a lot of space there. A lot of them are really taken out. So Debbie says, personal street sketch. What's this? Wide Earp. Okay. Ex-Italian Army guy with us paid for a rare sniper rifle. Okay. What time is the All Blacks game this week? I don't know that offhand. I'll double check. Let's see. Springboks, South Africa versus New Zealand. Okay, here we go. Let's see. That would be at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Both games. Yep, both games are at 5 p.m. That's an odd time. It's because of New Zealand's time, so you got to make sure that they can watch the game the next day. Yeah, South Africa. First one is in Joburg. Second one is in. Is it Nels? Not Nelspruit, is it? Where the hell is it at? It doesn't say. Anyway. I did know, but anyway. Yeah, so there you go. 11 o'clock, my time. It's going to work out well for me. So, good time for me to do it. Yep. John Jarvis is here. Didn't realize his actions had such an effect politically against America. Who's that? You talking about Wyatt Earp? Anyway. Yeah. All right. Cool beans. So, yeah, I've downloaded those now. Maps of the Redwoods. Anyway, yeah, so thanks everybody for being here. We're going to wrap it up here at an hour and a half on a Thursday. Any more news breaks, we'll get back with you. Probably cover Jacob Zuma, take a few comments out of his press conference, but that's going to take some time. I've got some other responsibilities right now, so I need to get something to eat because I'm starving. You guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate being here. God bless. Have a lovely rest of your day. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the super chats that came in and the 102 likes, plus everybody stayed with us for this broadcast. Have a good one, folks. What's this? So, hard to get guns. Yeah, Britain, it is hard to get guns, that's for sure. Cheers, everybody. Thanks you so much. And, just remember this. Keep calm and praat Afrikaans. Yeah, get some sustenance, not substance. Sustenance, I think is what you're looking for there. Cheers.